We are continuing our look at the impact of Idaho's abortion laws in the 2 years since the Dobbs decision. Soon after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in 2022, Idaho's 2 overlapping abortion bans took effect. The near-total abortion ban passed in 2020, and the 6-week heartbeat ban passed the following year only allow abortions in cases of rape or incest reported to police, and if the life, not the health, but if the life of the mother is at risk. Doctors could be fined or put in prison if they perform or assist in an illegal abortion. In the EMTALA case before the Supreme Court last month, which we're waiting to hear what they decide, the state of Idaho argued its law allows doctors to perform abortions in almost every case where the mother's health is at risk. However, several doctors disagree, and they, along with several women, have signed on to be plaintiffs in several lawsuits claiming the laws are confusing, inconsistent, and prevent pregnant Idahoans from receiving the medical care they need in times of crisis. Here's Morgan Romero with the mother's perspective.
I am a stay-at-home mom, and my husband does work.
Rebecca Vincent Brown and her husband wanted to take the next step in their journey as a family.
We had been trying for about a year and to grow and expand our family from 1 to 2.
They found out she was pregnant with their second in November of 2022.
We were ecstatic, absolutely ecstatic.
The house will be in order.
3 months after Idaho's total abortion ban took effect. At the time, all abortions were outlawed, no exceptions.
I didn't think that that ban would affect me at all. And when it did, it was shocking and quite infuriating.
At 16 weeks, an ultrasound revealed some devastating news.
And it was at that time that we knew it wasn't okay. You know, our baby, something was wrong with our baby.
The maternal fetal medicine specialist diagnosed their baby with triploidy, an extremely rare, life-threatening genetic condition. It usually leads to miscarriage or early death.
How did they phrase that?
I don't have the exact words, but it was along the lines of there's no medical intervention that can save this baby.
What was that feeling like?
Heavy. Like you drop a rock and the earth stood still. This was our second pregnancy and a planned for wanted pregnancy.
Jelaine St. Mitchell's pregnancy went smoothly.
I felt so good about that pregnancy.
Until late November 2022.
And then at our 20-week anatomy scan is when we found out that things were not progressing the way that they should have. We were told that our baby was not developing properly. So many organ systems were involved at a very, very severe level.
Like Rebecca, Jelaine was told her baby likely wouldn't survive. The women also learned their health was at risk.
If I were to continue the pregnancy with the baby, that it would give me at higher risk for preeclampsia or hemorrhage or any other medical risks with miscarrying. There was another diagnosis of fetal hydrops, which could have potentially impacted my health down the road, too.
By increasing her risk of pregnancy-related high blood pressure, Rebecca and Jelaine's providers told them their options were limited.
She said, if you want, more imaging, I can give you a referral for, pediatric specialists. You can continue your pregnancy, and chances that it miscarries. Or you can have an abortion.
Those risks to their health, coupled with their baby's conditions, led them to make the difficult decision to get an abortion.
We knew what we wanted to do, what felt like the most compassionate thing for us, and for that baby and for our family. There's nothing that could give this baby a life at all. And so that's why we decided on that day that we would then go get an abortion.
But getting an abortion in the state of Idaho wasn't an option for them.
In Idaho, abortions are only allowed in cases of rape or incest reported to police and to prevent the death of the pregnant woman. The abortion bans don't include exceptions to protect the pregnant person's health. Doctors who perform illegal abortions face threats of losing their medical license, thousands of dollars in fines, and prison time.
Doctors are extremely confused about what type of care is permitted and under what circumstances.
Center for Reproductive Rights attorney Gail Dady says this is leading to patients like Jelaine and Rebecca who are in medical emergencies being turned away.
And they are also very fearful of providing even life-saving abortion care in Idaho because they simply don't know what actions may land them in prison.
My life was not currently at risk. What is the level of risk? What is life-threatening? There's no terminology saying what is and what isn't.
Rebecca and Jelaine had to scramble to find clinics out of state that could take them quickly and perform abortions later in their pregnancies. They say their insurance didn't cover their expensive procedures in Oregon and Washington and would have in Idaho. They also had to pay hundreds of dollars for travel and hotels. But the worst part was the lasting trauma of their experiences.
I had to be there by myself to go through it all, and it was really, really devastating. I think that's the hardest part of it all, is not being able to grieve with my husband, and him not having the chance to say goodbye. That was taken from him because we had to go out of state. I started contracting right around midnight. We gave the on-call doctor a call, and he's like, just hang tight.
Rebecca's procedure required 2 steps over 2 days. But after the first step, things took an unexpected turn.
Right around 4 o'clock, I ended up passing the baby in the hotel bathroom. All while my 2-year-old was on the other side of the door. The trauma of the whole situation would not have happened if I stayed in Idaho with my physician at home.
What did they say they could have done for you if abortion had still been legal in Idaho?
I would have been able to have the procedure in the hospital. It wasn't until I returned home and kind of processed everything that I realized just how insane it was that we had to do it in that way, and how degrading it was to have to flee from my home. I remember telling my husband, there has to be a purpose. I'm gonna make this really terrible experience mean something.
When she found out the Center for Reproductive Rights planned to sue the state and Board of Medicine over Idaho's strict abortion bans, she realized that was her purpose.
This is my purpose. This is the reason for this.
Rebecca's OBGYN told her about the lawsuit a few months after her abortion. She says it spoke to her.
That was when I decided that it was time to do something.
They're suing on behalf of patients and doctors looking for clarification from the courts.
Like Idaho.
Dady, the lead attorney on the case, says they want to add exceptions to the bans to ensure providers can perform abortions to preserve a pregnant person's health and safety, including when the fetus is diagnosed with a deadly condition.
It's simply a statement that if someone is experiencing an emergent medical condition, meaning they have a condition that could result in significant harms to their health or their life or their future fertility, that person be permitted to have abortion care in Idaho.
Jelaine and Rebecca were able to get pregnant again and fulfill their dreams of growing their families.
And unfortunately, I kind of didn't allow myself to feel bonded with this pregnancy, which is really sad to think about. It's changed now. I didn't emotionally get excited about little baby Harlow until about 20 weeks when we had that ultrasound.
They hope by expanding the exceptions, other Idahoans won't endure the same pain and trauma they did.
If it can happen to us, it can happen to anybody. It's quite barbaric. We live in the 21st century. Why is this happening? We were going to name the baby Beckett, and we've tried our best to talk about her and, make sure Finley knows that she's real. We just never want to forget her, and we're really hoping that her life has purpose in this way, that we can honor her, and that hopefully because of our story and others like ours, we can make life better for women in the state.